Hello, Tamily. It's time for this week's Ask Tamily interview. And our guest for today is Heidi. Her Instagram name is heidi.tamily, and we will be connecting in just 1 second. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us, Heidi. We're very excited to interview you.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you finally.
Yes. So we'll go ahead and get started with some of our planned questions, but we'll also ask questions in the chat. So of course, anyone can type any questions in and we'll scroll through to make sure we get them. And then at the end, we are going to play Two Truths and a Lie. So everyone stay tuned for that fun. So Heidi, what we'd like to start with for you is our favorite question, which is when and how did you start doing the Tracy Anderson method?
So actually yesterday in my Instagram story memories, I had something pop up from 3 years ago, and it was from Tracy's beginner DVD. I think it's like beginner mat. So I had taken a little clip on it. So almost exactly 3 years ago, and I found Tracy, I think on Instagram. I've always been a runner, and then for some reason 3 years ago, I just got kind of bored with it, and I was searching around on Instagram for inspiration of moves to do or just something to change it up. And I somehow must have come across a Tamily member, and I put $100 on the fact that it might have even been Loretta. So, when you see Loretta, you're like, okay, what is that? Like, what is she doing? So that kind of, led me down the rabbit hole, and that's how I found it. So I really kind of flocked to her because I was looking for something different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's definitely different, obviously, than a lot of other things out there. What made you choose Tracy versus different methods?
Even when you see somebody doing her workout, she does things that I had never seen before. She's so innovative. And then I'm a very type A person. So when I started researching her, the fact that she changes her workouts and there's a strategy and a progression, that was super attractive to me because I knew I wouldn't get bored and there was purpose behind what I was doing. And just having a program to follow and not have to think about, okay, what move do I do when, on what day, kind of took all the thinking out of it for me. I could just enjoy my workout. Somebody else was picking it for me.
So did you go from kind of trying those DVDs to streaming, or what was your path?
Yeah. So I tried the beginner mat TV, mat for beginners, Tracy Anderson, and then it's the one with 3 different mat workouts.
Okay.
And then there's another one for beginners. It's like maybe the Tracy Anderson method for beginners, and it has some of the dance cardio and like just a couple chair moves. So I just kind of played around with that, and even with that little bit, those 15-minute segments, I saw changes in my body. I saw, lines I hadn't seen before. My butt came up. So I stuck with those for a little bit, and when you like something, you start digging into it a little bit more. So I started doing more research, and everybody seemed to say, oh, meta. And then there was this other group who was like streaming. And I didn't even know what that meant. And at one point, further back than 3 years ago, I had looked up Tracy's website, and I was like, oh, $900 a month. And I didn't even know what that was, but I was like, oh, that whatever that other thing is it's out of my budget. So after those DVDs and playing around with it, I bought Meta. I didn't know what centric I was. I bought hip centric because everybody else seemed to be hip centric. And I made it through level 6.
Okay.
And then I got to level 7, and I was like, I'm going to check out this streaming thing.
But I remember level 7. I think we called it like the 7th circle of hell or something.
Yeah. I was like, let's go go check out that other thing.
Yeah.
So, but even with, I mean, in that amount of time, I saw such incredible changes in my body, you know, in my arms immediately. And like I said, my butt came up, and I'm sure you'll be asking me about this later, but I ride horses, and such a big part of that is your core strength and your ability to hold yourself up and balance and distribute your weight evenly. And it all of a sudden became a lot easier for me. So that's
amazing.
what I started with. Yeah.
Well, we actually have a question in the chat right now about that, even though I was going to ask this.
Yeah.
But Maggie would like to know, how does Tracy Anderson results impact your horse riding, and does it help or get in the way, or both?
It helps a lot. So I actually spend most of my time at a desk job where I'm like always leaning over, always like hunching over by a keyboard. So I started noticing, like, little by little, these little muscles in my, like, it was like my chest opened up and my upper back, I could hold it up, right? So when you're riding, if you're like this, all of your weight is going forward on the front of your horse, and it's making them shift their weight forward so they can't hold themselves up. So if I can hold myself up and hold myself evenly on the back instead of, you know, shifting over this side or shifting over to this side, then my horse can move straight and can move with a more fluid motion rather than just being dumped on. So the fact that I could hold myself up and balance was pretty significant.
Yeah, that definitely makes a huge difference. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I always love to hear about results for people that already were, you know, doing something regularly, working out. I think sometimes people think, well, you know, you're already fit, like it wouldn't be that much of a change. But I think it's sometimes almost as dramatic as like others that weren't physically active before.
Absolutely. Like, you're taking all that muscle memory that you had before, and it's going a whole different way.
Yeah, it is so amazing. So how do you personally get and stay motivated to work out?
So I'm going to sound like a psycho by saying this, but I've worked out probably pretty regularly since I was 14. So I don't think about it anymore. I just do it. I went through a period after college where I had to shift from afternoon workouts, you know what that's like, to morning workouts, and that was a struggle. But for me, luckily, I don't have a problem staying motivated. You know, there's certain days where you're tired and you just aren't as motivated as you usually are, but those are usually take as a rest day, or just do something easy, like just do some arms. And then, you know, the next day you're kind of, like Tracy says, like, you start to crave it. Kind of just brings you back.
Yeah.
And the Tamily, I mean, you know, probably the first thing I see in the morning.
Absolutely. And the last thing at night.
Yeah. Anna moving. You see her, you're like, you know, goals.
Yeah. So who in the Tamily inspires you?
Oh, well, the obvious answer is everybody, for different reasons. But the really cool thing about the Tamily, and I didn't create a Tamily profile until maybe a little over a year and a half ago. But just kind of seeing the milestones in everybody's life, like, you see people go through family deaths, you see people go through cancer, you see go through losing their job, or, you know, their children growing up, being pregnant, losing, you know, a pregnancy. So just being able to see people's lives and evolving, but all having that same consistency of everybody, you know, still has that point of connection and that amount of support, it's hugely inspiring. But I also did write down a couple names because there's a couple people that I do really like to follow. So, gosh, I'm not sure when she joins streaming, and I would love to see her interview, but I think it's Nat times Tam.
Okay.
She's always posting arms, and she is like so free, and she makes it look so much fun. And I am by nature like I think about it too much, so I'm super stiff. So the fact that she can just move freely is hugely inspiring to me. Of course, Loretta. Recently, Anna moving.
Okay.
I'm not sure if she's not an Ask Tamily or not. I know she lives in, I believe, Europe. But recently she's been posting these little like insights that has a lot to do with the mind body connection. And it's really cool to read her perspective, because it reminds you of all these things that you've heard Tracy talk about before, but you just kind of lose focus of, and she has some really cool reminders. And then I have more. I had to write them down. Joanna, I think it's Joe Pro.
Okay.
She's cool. Like she's always got like mist surrounding her, like she's in a time machine, I think, because of her humidifier, but she just makes the sweetest comments, and she's so consistent, and I think she has a little one. And then who else did I have? Debate Champ. I've watched her blossom. Like, and she's a form nerd, like kind of like me. I messaged her a question the other day, I think after her private, and she sent me like all these recordings back. So it's been really cool to see her journey. And she's hilarious. And like, I don't really like pay attention too much to other streamers' bodies, but you can see the changes in her. Like her hard work you can see it. You can see the design. And Small Talk Tamily. I don't even know her first name. I don't either. I tried to ask her the other day, and I don't think she replied. So she's Small Talk Tamily to me, but like her form, and she's so smooth, and she'll do, like a back-to-back class, which I do every once in a while with like perfection, but I like watching her. That sounds creepy, but I like watching her.
I think she's watching us now, but we're going to have to do some detective work to find out what her name is.
Yes. Small Talk Tamily, what is your first name, darling? We love you.
Well, that is definitely a great, inspiring list. Have you ever met anyone from the Tamily in person?
Yeah. So I live in Austin, Texas, and there's a pretty good number of streamers here. Like I won't be able to name all of them off the top of my head, but it started with I somehow found Rory Tamily. Okay. I'm guessing probably through like the Tamily, or what was it? The one hashtag that was used for a while, maybe Tamily friend hashtag.
Yeah.
So somehow I found her, and that was in 2018 when I had just moved from Meta to streaming. And she's so sweet and supportive, and she's like, oh, you're in Austin, come work out with us, there's another girl who works out with me. So I am like not a blind date, like random meetup kind of person, but for some reason, like I really wanted to, like I was like, oh, we can work out in heat and humidity with these girls who know what they're doing, and I want to know their story and how they found it, and like their thoughts, and maybe they can help me with form. So I met up with her, and then Paula, I think she's P. Allen Tam. Okay. She posts a little here and there. She's also in Austin. So I met up with those two. And for a while in summer of 2018, we had a really consistent every Sunday group in a yoga studio room, which we could heat up. That was the first time I experienced that. And gosh, we did that for almost 6 months. And that fall in Austin, we have a Formula One racetrack. So we had somehow found out that For Love of Peachy Bottom and Ariel Mama, I haven't seen her post in a while. I wonder what happened to her, but they both came out and were like, oh, let's meet up. Let's have a Tam workout day. Well, I work like a lot. So I had to come up with like some reason to like get out of work or go in late so I can meet up with these women. But it was rather epic. And we have videos in For Love of Peachy Bottom, we're like, how, like your arms, like how do you do arms? Like what centric are we? Because she has a lot of experience. So those four. And then there's a couple other in Austin. You interviewed FitBiz Tam. She's in Austin. I haven't met her yet. Okay. No, I take that back. I actually I did meet her because for like briefly, I didn't know she was Fit Biz Tam at the time, but so when I was going to the gym pre-COVID, I would always like use an empty studio room because it had really good mirrors, and so I would do my class in there. You know, I just pull up in a corner with my iPad. And one morning she like was walking through the fitness room and she's like, excuse me, like, is that Tracy? And then she was just like, yeah, I did that, blah, 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 blah. So somehow in the spring, when everybody was on quarantine, we kind of like realized each other was each other. So I met her. I just didn't know it at the time.
That is crazy.
Yeah. And then Tam Ever Grateful is in Austin. She'll post like every once in a while, and she always has the newest, like best outfit, like super trendy, like new sneakers. And she's maybe only 10 minutes from me, but I haven't met her.
Well, there's definitely lots of meeting up possibilities, especially in your area.
Yeah. Hopefully.
And Small Talk did comment in the chat. Her name is Hannah.
Hannah! Of course your name is Hannah.
Now we know.
Now we know. We'll never forget you, Hannah. You'll still be Small Talk, but we can say hi, Hannah.
Right. Now we're into calling her Small Talk.
Yeah.
We have a question in the chat. It's like a whole paragraph from Fit Mama Jama. She says, at the end of your post, you put a number. Is that the amount of calories you burned? And if so, what device do you use to measure, like a Fitbit, Apple Watch, or something else?
So I've gotten a lot of questions about this, and the amount of calories was it's 4 digits. That would be really to maintain, you know, on a regular basis. I am the number 30, so I started like experimenting with my and I've been asking people like, oh, I'm tracking because it's really in line maybe with like what Tracy recommends, and I don't want people to, you know, do what I'm doing just because I'm doing it. But a while back ago, when Continuity came onto the website, I purchased it. I don't know why. I just have to have everything now, you know, like the floor. Yeah. So I don't know. I just wanted to see it. I had to have it. And in it, there is bonus arms.
Okay.
Have you done Continuity? Did you?
Yes, a billion years ago, but now I remember bonus arms.
They're like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, I wonder if I do this, if I'll see like changes in my arms. So those numbers correspond with some extra things that I do, and part of the numbers are from those bonus arm sequences.
Okay. Very, very sophisticated Tamily measurements.
Now that some of the mystery is out.
Do you do dance cardio also?
I do. I didn't until quarantine.
Okay.
But that gave me a lot of extra time because I'm sure you'll ask me what I do eventually, but I was only working about half the number of days that I'm used to. So that gave me extra time for, you know, cardio. So I started doing it March. It's hard to start. You kind of got to get out of your head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah. And just dedicate to learning it. So, were you at all a dancer before, or this is something you're totally learning from scratch?
I would never say I was a dancer, but I had a good 10 years in a Zumba group.
That helps.
I was the best. Oh my God, it was like the best decade of my life. Like my husband, he called it, you know, like the Zumba cult. Like now it's like the Tracy cult, but we all know it's not a cult, the Tamily. Right. But obviously it's a group and people I'm passionate about. So I did that for a good 10 years. And then when we moved, you know, I lost my little group. So I kind of went back to running again. And then when Tracy started publishing the 15-minute dance cardios, I dabbled in it a little bit. And then when March came around, you know, I dove into a little bit more. And I think that was a great idea because it's not super choreographed. It's 15 minutes, so it's not overwhelming. You can fit it in after a class without dying. I'm still not at Catapult. I've been living in Catalyst lately.
Okay. So what's your overall routine, like as far as which workout you do each day and how often you incorporate dance cardio?
Well, I did a consultation with Annie in the spring when Tracy brought out, those options
Mhm.
for privates and for customs. And she recommended at the time I think I was doing mostly fundamental, but she recommended 5 days a week of fundamental or retain, 3 days a week, half hour of dance cardio, and then maybe instead of attain on that 6 day doing multitask.
Okay.
I still have never done multitask. I don't know why. Every once in a while I'll do the arms from it because
Uh-huh.
I really like trainer arms. But so that was my prescription.
Okay.
But I I tried to pick one class to stick with throughout the week, and I'd really like for it to be attained, but some weeks if I can't connect or I just, after 2 days I feel like I can't get out of my shoulders,
Mhm.
I'll switch to fundamental. And there's always something to learn from
Mhm.
fundamental or from start. So I'll try to
Mhm.
finish the week with that. And then I was pretty good with dance cardio, maybe 2 days a week, but I got the floor like a month ago. So I've been having fun adding in the 15-minute bonus cardios a little bit more often with that. I can go longer and I can do it days back to back where
Mhm.
before I was doing it on my porch patio on concrete and I was like, I can't, it's not sustainable. I can't do it back to back days. I can't do it more than a half an hour. Like
Mhm.
you feel it. And if you feel
Mhm.
it, it's probably not so good for you.
Right. But you can really feel that difference with the floor, that it gives you the ability to keep going and then to do it multiple days in a row.
I can. I think I'm probably more hyper aware about my body than the average person. Probably all of us are because of
Mhm.
Tracy. Like we just, are connected in a different way, but I do. I'm
Yeah.
having fun with it.
That's awesome. The floor, I think, definitely makes a difference.
Oh my
Um,
God, when it first came out, like I don't know, even know, like maybe 10 years ago, I had looked it up because I was doing Zumba and I was like, oh, I can't do Zumba on concrete every day. And I was like, wow, the Cardio Fly Super G floor. And then recently I like looked it up since we've been in quarantine. I haven't gone back to the gym and I've been thinking about it a little bit more seriously. And then in December, my husband kind of gave me his blessing. So it's like, what? I didn't think twice. I was like, okay, let's order it right now.
right. Before you change your mind, let's get
Yep.
this in the cart.
Yep. Exactly.
So have you ever been to a studio or Vitality Week?
No. Um, no, it is on my bucket list. I don't think Emily Hansen Tam has been either. So I don't know if she's on the same page with me, but my secret goal is to go to like the next Vitality with her and we can do our both like, our first one together so I can have somebody to walk in with.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
And I haven't been to a studio either. When I first created my Heidi Tamily profile, I think it was Rebecca Wertzman and, Surrey. Of course, they're like, when are you going to come visit? Come to New York, which is so nice to like,
Yeah.
just be asked, like, talk about welcoming.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're probably pretty special people. But so with my job, I work 55 hours a week, maybe sometimes more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm needed there, and I don't have a lot of vacation. And the vacation I do have, I try to get home to see family in Ohio when I'm not trying to show my horse or go ride my horse. My horses aren't in the same state as me. So
My
it's,
gosh.
yeah, that's a long story. We'll get them back in Texas. It's a long
Oh,
story.
wow,
But
that is crazy.
yeah, right now they're in Michigan. So
Oh my gosh.
I have to be very I have to prioritize with my time off. But when she brings the vitalities back, I would love to go. I would love to go to a studio. I just can only imagine the energy.
Mm-hmm.
It
Definitely.
would be like walking in and seeing like all these superstars that you see her post about on Instagram. So it'd
Mm-hmm.
be kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. A New York meetup has to happen and
Yeah.
some kind of epic Vitality Week somewhere for sure.
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know if it'll happen this year. It'll be interesting to see what she does with the studios. I think it looked like she posted that she was in the studio, at least by herself. Um, so I'm kind of curious to see what she does with that.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be the next few months, I think, will be really interesting to see. Do
Yeah.
things really change in 2021 or is it going to be 2022?
Yeah, I don't know.
So, since you mentioned your work, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
So I'm from Ohio. My family is in the automotive industry. My dad owns 7 franchises, car dealerships.
Okay.
So I literally was born into the industry, is what I tell people. And for a while, I didn't think it was what I wanted to do. But then I started working in one of the stores after college, and like I loved it. Like it's so much fun, just working. Well, it's a lot of guys, so there's zero drama, and the guys are like hilarious. Like the stupidest stuff comes out of their mind. I try not to let it rub off on me too much, but it's an entertaining world. And so I came from a really, really good dealership environment, and I migrated to working and running the finance departments. I have other family members that work in the business too. But when we moved to Austin for my husband's job, which he's a financial advisor here, I found a group, and you probably know them, Suzanne. Are you in the Carolinas?
Yes.
Okay, so do you know the Hendrick Automotive Group?
That sounds familiar.
They have a NASCAR team, and they're the largest privately owned dealer group. So when I moved here, obviously I couldn't work at the family stores. So I found them, and they're very highly respected and have good reviews, and they're just good people to work for. So I run the finance department at it's the second largest BMW store in the country, at least right now. People are always building new things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot of pressure for sure, but it sounds super cool.
Yeah, it's a fun environment when you help somebody, buy their BMW. It's usually a milestone in their life.
Yeah.
So it's fun to be part of.
Seriously. Right, especially, you think about how many jobs are like dealing with negative moments for people, but buying a BMW is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it's so exciting. Put a red bow on it. Here's your keys.
Yeah. Oh, that's so much fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's fantastic. Well, let's get back a little bit to Tracy. What would be your advice to someone that's new to the method or new to the Tamily?
I think if you are new to the method and you're looking for your next thing, I think it's helpful to know that it's a journey. I remember I subscribed to the performance studios for a while, and I remember watching one of the lectures, which I think are super valuable, that section of the performance studio, that she said, like when you're tracking her in arms, like don't go back if you mess up and try to redo it. Just catch up and go back into it. And that part was can get it right, but you got to just get out of your head and catch up and go where it's going and realize that you're not going to be perfect. You're not going to ace it the first time. It's a journey. It's okay if you can't see the angles right away. You'll figure it out. You just got to stick with it. And if you stick with it, you'll see the results physically. And then as you continue on the journey mentally, especially when you get to the absorption phase. But
right.
That would be my advice.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's one thing sometimes people don't realize. Like, it isn't supposed to be perfect. It does maybe look like people are doing it perfectly, but that's because they have spirit. Like, I don't think, because they're getting every single thing right. And every week we're in a new spot. We're all learning a new thing every single 7 days. So it really is about kind of embracing being in that learning space.
Yeah, and it's okay if you fall. Like, I think there's one video, she's like, you're not gonna fall that far. Like, it's
Right.
okay.
Yeah, you're like not gonna fall more than a few
Yeah,
inches to the
you're like
ground.
already on the ground.
Right. Have you faced any challenges in doing the method?
Who hasn't? Every week is a challenge.
Mhm.
My most recent challenge is, I think, something that she started talking about a little bit again this week, but in 2018 she was talking a lot about, blocking out the noise and getting into the zone.
Mhm.
And I'm always thinking, and I think more going to like feeling the move, and like this week, feel the contraction, feeling the contraction, like more just feeling it and getting out of your head has
Mhm.
been the most recent challenge for me. I think last year I had like super pesky piriformis muscle. It's like the muscle on the side at the top of your butt. I think what kind of fixed that was just focusing on my core strength rather than using my glutes. I don't know. Eventually I figured it out and it went away, but that was pesky for a while. I had to take
Mhm.
some extra rest days. But I think as you go throughout the levels, and as year after year after year, your challenge is different.
Right. Yeah, and it's never like no one really reaches a point that it's becomes easy and like stays that way, like because everything
Mm-hmm.
changes. So it will always be challenging.
Yeah. Although this week, I don't know if it's because Maria is giving the breakdown or what, but some stuff has been clicking with me in the last couple weeks. And I love how this week in the advanced class, like you start off with like a pretty big, like pulling back your abs back in. And she weaves that in back into some of the moves throughout the workout. So it's almost like a chorus, like a reoccurring theme. And you're like, oh, I kind of know what to do here.
Huh?
And so your body kind of picks up without thinking about it. And I haven't recognized that in the class for a while, and
Hmm.
that's like the part that hooks me.
Yeah, totally. That definitely does. Have you ever converted anyone to being a Tracy Anderson method devotee?
not not like I am, not like we are, not a Tamily member. I have there's a girl at work who's dabbling in it, and I have had a couple family members ask me about it, but never really got traction. But they were never, very devoted or disciplined about any program to begin with. So I'm not, you got to stick with Tracy a little bit. I think you
Yeah.
got to stick with it to see the results a little bit in most cases.
Yeah.
And last year during quarantine, my brother was like, "What is that thing you do?" So was a wrestler in high school. So, he sees us like slithering around on the mat and flipping over back and forth. And I was like, I mean, like, you can try it. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if it is what you think it is, but here's the link.
Oh, that's funny.
So I've exposed people to it.
Mhm. Well, it isn't necessarily for everyone, but I think
Right.
people do get interested sometimes, like maybe after a time, like, you never know. One day they might be like, all right, now I've done
Yeah.
it 2 days in a row.
Right. Or maybe, it just wasn't the right time in their life, and it's something they'll come back to when they're ready. I think you gotta, with something like this, it's such a commitment and a journey. You have to want to do it for yourself. You have to find it and seek it out.
Right, totally. That is definitely the same way I feel.
Yeah.
Um, do you have a motivational quote you would like to share with Emily?
Well, I do have a quote. I don't know if it's motivational, but it's something that I find applies to a lot of situations, either the method or at work or just in general. And this is another piece that I got from the performance program, which I'm so curious. Like, I'm not subscribed right now, but I'm curious what she's going to do with that too, because I'm sure she's had to prioritize with quarantine. But I think it's on one of the first muscular structure lectures. She had a quote from, I'm going to butcher this, but I'm going to get as close as I can. And it's Lao Tzu. And she said I think she butchered the quote too, but it's the soft and the pliable will defeat the hard and the strong. And she used this example of how, like, if she was arguing with Penny and she's like, rah, 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 and Penny's like, rah, 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 like nothing will ever get accomplished. But if you're more go with the flow and you're like something bouncing off something else, that will get you through something rather than, like a rock hitting a rock. Mm-hmm. So I think for me, because I tend to be stiff and rigid and, sometimes we all just get stuck in our ways or only see things one ways rather than just, kind of going with it and going through it. I don't know. That quote resonated with me.
Yeah.
It's more life advice.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But it's applicable to like so many things. Like as you're saying it, I'm thinking about when I fight a move in the workout of like, it sucks. I don't know why.
Right?
Yeah. Like
exactly.
You need it and then you should just embrace it. Or like regular life situations.
Yeah. I try to remember it like when my husband's like, you didn't load the dishwasher right or something like that.
Right.
I want the people that just throw it in, it'll get clean.
Right. Who is someone that you would like to see featured in a future Ask Tamily interview?
Hannah. We'll talk.
That is a great idea.
I'm not sure if she's in the US. For some reason, I feel like she's not, but Hannah. Have you done Anna moving yet?
I don't think so.
I think she's in Switzerland or Sweden, maybe. Okay. She would be cool because I feel like she is very insightful. Like I've also watched her blossom. Mm-hmm. And have you seen her dance cardio?
I don't think so.
She's a maniac. Like I can't do what she does. And let's see. I think I wrote some of those down.
Okay.
So let me see who I wrote down. Oh, well, some of the ones that I've been following. So Nat X Tam, probably Nat times Tam. And then Joanna. So Joe Pro 38. Who else? Those are the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. Okay. I'm sure there's more.
Well, we'll add them to the list, especially now that we know Small Talk's name. She's been watching interviews for weeks, and I've been wondering what her name was.
Yeah, I want to know when she started because her form is she's so smooth and very fluid. She looks like she's been doing it a long time. Mm-hmm. Either that or she's some kind of prodigy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would think the same thing about you because your form was so specific. And when you said like 3 years, I'm like, really? I mean, not that 3 years is a short amount of time at all, but yeah, I would have thought you'd been doing it longer too.
Thank you.
Yeah. What was your first post as like a Tracy Anderson method post? Do you remember?
I do. Well, so for a while, I just had my personal account. It might be linked to Heidi Tamily. It's my first initial, my last name. It's H. Marhofer. And I think when I first met up with Rory and Paula for our first little group workout, she was like, oh, like, do you mind if we film? And I was like, no, I would love if you film. Like, I don't know how to film. I see all these other people film, but I felt like ridiculous filming. So she filmed something, and it's kind of cool when you watch a playback because you're like, oh, I didn't know I looked that good. Like I didn't know I could do that. Like I didn't know I had that muscle. Mm-hmm. So I think I posted something on my personal profile, and throughout that fall, I would sprinkle it in like here and there. Like when it's the people you work with or show horses with or family, like you try not to bombard them. I try not to bombard them. And then last year in February, after I had that little performance issue, I had taken a little bit of time off, and then I came back and I got the annual membership. I think my husband, I think that had his blessing too. He's supportive. He makes fun of me, but he's supportive.
I think that's the way they show their support.
Yeah. He'll be like, get your butt down, point your toe. know.
Oh, that's great.
So I got the annual membership instead of doing the monthly, and that's when I opened the Heidi Tamily account.
Okay.
And from then, that's when I was like, I'm gonna post every day, and I'm only gonna follow Tamily members, and I'm only gonna let Tamily members follow me, and then I'm just gonna do what I want.
That's perfect. It's the only thing I do on social media, so
Yeah. Well, it starts to occupy most of your social media time.
it
But it's
does.
so much more positive than just watching people complain or post things that aren't real.
Mm-hmm. Right. Or like get sucked into like shopping. I'm like, what else would I
Oh
do
my God.
like
How smart was Instagram to start targeting us with like their fitness apparel?
yeah. I start to get sucked in and I'm like, no, I'm not buying
Yep.
anything. Let me put this down.
You and me both. I'm right there with you.
Um, what Tracy Anderson method move did you used to hate that you now love?
I go through phases with planks.
Yeah.
I like always want to engage the things that I always want to make it harder than it is.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just getting myself straight. I always want to like engage my abs more than I should, or I don't know. Planks. I'm in a love-hate relationship with planks. Right now, we love each other. Like
That's good.
last month, we hated each other.
I think I usually just hate planks.
Yeah. I feel like one day you'll have a light bulb moment and you might like them for a little while.
Maybe.
It's a relationship that
Yeah,
goes up and down.
for sure.
Yeah.
How do you feel immediately following a workout?
Um, well, on Sundays, I love just like pedaling around, taking my time and, working out. And then I just feel balanced when I'm done and energized and just kind of, even from an emotional and a physical standpoint. On the weekdays, I'm like rushing to get it done, hurrying up to get to work, driving through traffic. So I don't take time to really assess how I feel. It's more of a get it done. But when I do it versus the days that I don't, I am a better person.
Yeah, whenever I'm having a bad day, I'm like, oh, did I take a rest day this morning? That's a stupid idea.
Yeah. I'm a better person because of tan.
So do you always work out in the morning no matter what now?
Yeah. So in the car dealership, it's retail. So I'm in a lucky situation in a luxury store. We're only open till 7, but a lot of times you're there till 8 or 8:30. There's non-luxury stores, they're there till 10, 9, 10 at night. So you can't plan anything after work on the days that you work. You just don't know how long you're going to be there. So it's in the morning or nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is
Do it.
definitely a late work day.
Oh, long. Yeah. But you know what? If I didn't love what I do, then I wouldn't do it. Right now, I still love it.
That's excellent. What is the most important thing to you to maintain balance in your life?
It's definitely, well, a couple things, but it's mostly work, work and home life.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fortunate that the group that I work for now recognizes that people do need balance in their life. And I think that's why it's such a male dominated industry, is because, like guys don't take time to get ready in the morning. Guys don't, they don't have as many, or they don't feel pressure to have cover as many bases maybe as females. But right now I'm doing well with that balance, but that's not always the case. It's always something that I have to be mindful of because, like when the pendulum swings too far this way, it comes smashing back. Hits you in the face.
Absolutely. So tell us about your horses being far away. How often do you get to see them?
Well, I have pictures. I have show and tell pictures for you. So,
okay.
This is one of my horses. That's Big Boy. So I ride English, and
okay.
I don't know if there's any other family members that ride. Please send me a message if you ride, people. There's like nobody else out there that does what I do. And then this is Wilbur. I didn't name him, but his name is very appropriate. So that's Wilbur. That's what yep. So I have two of them. I would like to have one. So one is for sale, but I do compete with them, and the discipline that I compete in is very specific. And so there are some trainers that are more talented than others, or are better people than others. And that's why my horses are in Michigan right now. But I think I finally found the right person to put them with, and she is in Houston half the year. So if you're in Houston, maybe there's a Tamily meetup in our future. It's only a 2-hour drive for me. That's doable. Okay. And then she's in Michigan the other half of the year. But I'm okay with that because my family, all of my family is in Ohio. They're like a 2-hour drive from there. So, you know, maybe I can kind of combine the two. But that's where they are right now. So I don't get to ride as much as I wish that I could. They used to be pretty close here in Texas, but that trainer moved. So I've kind of been trying to find the right home since then. Mm-hmm. But my plan is to sell one, and then I'll show my 3-year-old this year, and then maybe eventually just bring her here to hang out. There's a boarding place that is right down the road from us, and I would like to just bring him home and enjoy him for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I don't know if there's any other Tamily members that ride, but they should definitely let us know. And my niece does. Hopefully one day she'll be doing Tracy as well. But
yeah, Scotty's daughter does. I know that. I was like, oh, God bless you, Scotty. Like, when your daughter is 21, she will realize the amount of money that you dumped into her hobby. But yeah, that's a very generous thing for parents to do.
Yeah, it is definitely it takes dedication for sure to want to do that versus like T-ball or whatever. But it's so good though. Like, I mean, I see benefits in my niece from like a confidence and just even interacting with other animals and things like that. Like, that's amazing. I think it will be very instrumental in her.
Yeah, it'll be the best years of her life.
Can you tell us where you got married?
Yes. Do you already know?
I don't think so.
So I've been married for 6 years, and I am not a spotlight person. Like, I don't really like high pressure in front of family and blah, 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 blah. So me and my husband, Mike, we got engaged, and I was like, I don't really want a giant wedding. Do you want a giant wedding? And he's like, whatever you want. He's like, but I don't really think so. He's like, do you want to elope? And I was like, well, you know, I still want my closest family members to be there. Like, I want it to be special, and I want them to share in the experience. So we're like, where can we go that's far enough away that not a lot of people will go, you know, because then I don't have to stand up in front of the altar in front of, you know, hundreds of people. And Mike's side of the family, unfortunately, is very, very small. So we also didn't want, you know, a super lopsided wedding. We wanted, Mom passed away a couple years before we got engaged, and we wanted to be kind of conscious of that. So we went to Rome, Italy. That's where we got married. In Vatican City.
Amazing.
Yeah, in Vatican City. I'll have to post a picture. But it was incredible. We had 12 people at our wedding, which was perfect.
Oh my gosh, wow.
Low pressure. But it was a really cool experience. After we got married in Vatican City, we had, while we were getting our pictures taken, we had our family members, you know, like go on a bus tour, and like Mike's aunt and uncle and his dad, you know, like they've never traveled that part of the world. Like, they've never seen the Colosseum. Like, they never got a tour of the Vatican. Like, they never experienced anything like that. So it was really cool to see them enjoy themselves, and gave us a lot to talk about. It was pretty special.
That is a really, really cool experience. And and sometimes I feel like, you know, for people that do go through like 300 guests and millions of people in the wedding party and stuff, it's like, that's not really what's important. To have an experience like that, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and be able to share it with the people that you love.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure we saved a fortune by doing that.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, that is so cool. I want to see a lot of pictures. You're going to have to.
I'll post a few. I'll put them in my stories because I like to keep, my Tamily page just family, like clean.
Right. Excellent. That is so amazing. Well, we are coming up towards the end of our hour. So we do want to ask you for your 2 truths and a lie. But before we do that, are you able to give us a little tour of your Tam Cave so we can see that tour?
Yeah, I'm not super far from it right now. So first of all, I would like to thank Emily because I probably sent her, at least 10 private messages with questions. Like, how am I going to put this thing together? Like, what size do you have?
Yeah.
And then Loretta, everybody's seen hers.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her a lot of questions too. Okay, hopefully you can see this okay. So we don't have kids, so we have some extra rooms in our house, but this is my Tam Cave room. So it's a spare bedroom, but I kind of put it together pretty slowly. It started with the floors, which they take almost 2 months to get. They're not super hard to put together, though. I mean, my husband might say something different. So here's my floor.
Awesome.
Here's how bouncy it is. And then I put up these mirrors. God, I did a lot of research on the mirrors because I was like, I wanted it to be nice. I didn't know whether to do like custom glass, but then I was like, gosh, that costs a fortune. So I asked Loretta, and she's like, oh, these mirrors from IKEA. And I looked them up, and they're maybe like $150 each, but they're big, beautiful mirrors. They're almost 7 feet. And then these. So I'm sure you've heard of mixed tiles. Have you seen?
Yep.
Like, I love these. They were maybe $40 each, and like my husband didn't have to put a nail in the wall. You just stick them up, but they're really cute for adding some color. And then I have another mirror here. So I did kind of want mirrors all the way around and natural light. And then my husband doesn't know I do this, but there's a bathroom in my Tam Cave. So all you towel tram people probably know what I do. But it doesn't have a shower curtain, but there's a shower. So sometimes I get a little extra humidity that way.
Yes.
So yeah, that's the Tam Cave. And there's my dog.
Aw. Hi, puppy.
She loves this floor. Like, I don't know
Really?
if it's a bouncy, but she lays on it when I'm at work.
Oh, so, that's funny.
Yeah, it was fun to put together. I wanted one when I started doing this in 2018 when you see everybody else's, but it just, it took a little while to put together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Worth it.
I've been thinking about it myself for a long time.
Yeah, well, you just moved and you have a beautiful new home.
Yeah.
Like I said, it took me a while. Like, once you get a vision, then you can start to chip away at it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for the tour. That's fantastic.
Yeah. You're welcome.
So we do want to finish up with your 2 truths and a lie. So everyone can vote in the chat on what they think is the lie.
Okay. I had to write these down because I knew I wouldn't be able to think of them on the spot. Like, nobody can. I'm not a good liar. Okay, so here's my 2 truths and a lie. I'm a twin. I have been in TV commercials. And I've never broken a bone.
Wow, those are really good. I think I might believe all of them.
Right? Well, then they're good.
Okay, you're a twin. You've been in TV commercials. And what was the last one?
I've never broken a bone.
Okay. I
don't know.
Go
with your gut, Suzanne. Don't overthink it. Go with your gut.
I definitely think you've been in TV commercials. I don't know why that's the one I'm committed to. I don't know. Have you ridden horses for your whole life?
Since I was 6. I prayed for a pony for like 2 years when I was 6.
Okay. I'm saying that the twin one is a lie, which a lot of people in the chat think the broken bone one is a lie.
So
which one is the lie?
I have broken a bone. I had a traumatic accident when I was 8 years old with a tractor. I have like you probably can't see it, but my hand is super scarred up because I was helping my dad and my jacket got caught in a part that got twisted around. I'm lucky to have my hand, actually.
Oh my God.
And I've done TV commercials for my dad's car dealerships. Yeah. And I am not a twin, so you are right. I have a set of twins that are brothers. My brothers are twins.
Oh,
so
wow.
2 brothers. But I'm not one of them. You nailed it. Good job.
I don't know how I figured that one out, but I was sure you'd been in commercials. Well, thank you so much, Heidi, for a super, super fun interview. It's been awesome talking to you and getting to know you for the last hour. I really hope we get to meet each other in person, whether it's in the city or at a Vitality Week or something. That would be so fun.
Yeah, well, thank you and Emily and Kristen and anybody else who's behind the scenes for putting this together every week. It's like my weekend drive home from work on Saturday treat. Like, I listen to Ask Tamily the whole way home. Like, I look every Saturday. It's not like sometimes when you do it on Sundays, I'm like, oh, I have to wait till tomorrow. But thank you for everything that you do. I think it means a lot to a lot of people.
Thank you. I love that. And hopefully we'll get Hannah on the list.
Yeah, Hannah.
So that'll be a great outcome from this interview too.
Yeah, and Nat Tam. She's so fun.
Absolutely.
I feel like she's so fun. Her arms are fun.
Yeah, you have to have a fun personality if you have fun arms.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, thank you so much, Heidi. Anything last minute that you want to share with the Tamily before we end your interview?
No, just I see you all every day, and I appreciate one of you. You're all special to me. So just know that.
Thank you, Heidi. Excellent.
All right, thank you, Suzanne.
Will go onto the Ask Tamily page now and then onto YouTube for forever very soon.
Okay, have a good Sunday.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.